Welcome to the Midlife Feast, the podcast that helps you make sense of your body, your health, and menopause in the messy middle of midlife. I'm Dr. Jen Salib-Huber, intuitive eating dietitian and naturopathic doctor, and author of Eat to Thrive During Menopause. Around here, we don't see midlife and menopause as problems to solve, but as invitations to live with more freedom, trust, and joy. Each week, you'll hear real conversations and practical strategies to help you feel like yourself again, eat without guilt, and turn midlife from a season of survival into a season of thriving. I'm so glad you're here. Let's dig in. Hello, friends. I'm back for a little mini series. The regular season will be starting back up in a few weeks. But something crazy happened the other day, and I immediately thought, oh my gosh, the first thing I want to do is actually talk to the podcast community about this. So I woke up to an email from Buzzsprout, my podcast host, telling me that 500,000 downloads had happened. So 500,000, 500,000 episodes of my little podcast have been downloaded. And as you can tell, I'm still kind of speechless about it. And if you've been listening for a while, you know that I don't get speechless very often, but I am and was and probably will be for a while very humbled that so many of you have listened to this podcast over the last almost 5 years, by the way. So I wanted to do this little mini series, which I've actually been thinking about doing for a while. I did one a few years ago, actually, but I felt like it was time for an update. So we're going to spend some time together over the next 5 days, just a few minutes a day. There's nothing to download. You don't have to give me your email. If you want to give me your email, I have lots of free resources for you, and that'll all be in the show notes. But I really want this to be just something that you can listen to when you need a reminder about all of it. When you need a reminder about how to eat, why to eat, what to eat, but in a way that doesn't make you feel like you're losing your mind. So let's get started with this Midlife Undieting mini-series. So the first question is always, well, what do you mean by undieting? Lots of people like the word or curious about the word, but they have no idea what I'm talking about when I say we need to undiet. So undieting is different than not dieting, although they're related, obviously, because undieting is also unlearning. So you're unlearning some of the rules, some of the default programming that maybe you grew up with, or you picked up along the way, or you continue to be inundated with about what it looks like to be eating well, whatever that means. But every day, I want to help you answer one question. So if you remember one thing about this episode before you listen to the next one, I want you to listen to every episode with this question in mind. What would taking care of yourself look like if you didn't require your body to get smaller in return? Because that is essentially what undieting is. Because when we undiet our beliefs about what our body needs to do, meaning does it need to get smaller, does it need to change, in return for eating a vegetable or going to the gym or putting more protein on your plate, whatever it is, it becomes a lot easier to have a relationship with food that is maybe more flexible than what you've had in the past. So I'm also going to walk you through over the next 4 days these 4 pillars of intuitive nutrition, which I've talked about before, but we're talking about a little bit more now, which is understanding, self-compassion, attunement, and gentle nutrition. So today we're talking about understanding. So if we go back to that question, how would you take care of yourself if you didn't require your body to get smaller in return? Why, and this is the understanding part, why do we have that condition in the first place? We believe, and we've been taught, and maybe even our own experience has taught us or shown us that if I eat a certain way and I do it well enough and for long enough, my body will play along. And often that works the first time. So people who have been dieting for a long time, who are, chronic or professional dieters, as I call them, know that the first time worked, maybe the second time worked, maybe the third time worked, but oh gosh, the 15th, 16th, 20th, 30th time, why doesn't it work anymore? So that diet cycle of start a diet, do it for a while, get tired of it or get tired of it not working, fall off the wagon, start over on Monday. That diet cycle is happening as part of your default programming for more people than you think. And so the understanding part is knowing that there's also something that I call the undiet cycle, that you can recognize you're in this cycle, but I want you to know that you don't have to be stuck in it. But it's very hard to decide that you want to have a salad for lunch if you don't feel like you're also trying to be good, right? And that is the diet mentality. So the diet mentality and the diet cycle and the belief that your body has to play along in order for something to be working is the whole problem. So if you're somebody who is thinking, I really want to improve my health, improve my nutrition, maybe you want to eat more protein for whatever reason or more fiber, but the minute that you start doing that, even if your initial motivation isn't weight loss, you might have the thought, oh, I'm going to try and get 30 grams of protein with my breakfast because that's going to help me to feel more full and build muscle. But then this little voice in the back of your head pops up and says, oh, and maybe we'll finally lose weight. And this is what I see all the time is even when people are trying to make weight neutral, non-diet goals, because they know that following this strict rule system is not going to work in the long term, but gosh, they really want to feel like they're doing something, they get caught up in the diet cycle before they even know what is happening, right? So I hope that over the next few days, what you'll see is there is a framework that you can apply. You can do something because we want to do something. You can do something without doing the thing that you've always done that isn't working anymore. And that's what we're going to explore together over the next few days. So like I mentioned, you don't have to do anything other than just listen. But if at any point you're listening to this and you think, yep, that's me, I want some help, Jen, how can you help me? There are 2 links that I want you to check out in the show notes. And one is a link to join the Feaster community, the Midlife Feast community for 7 days. You can try us out, see if we're your people. There's some amazing people in that Feaster community. And the second is a link to book a no strings attached connection call so that we can have virtual coffee together or tea or whatever floats your boat. And we can talk about what you need because I really think that undieting is for everyone, but you might need support. So don't feel like you're doing something wrong if you're like, oh, I've been trying to do this for a long time, Jen. It just doesn't work for me. I really believe that intuitive eating and undieting applies to everyone. So that's the end of day 1, understanding. I'll be back tomorrow for day 2, which is self-compassion. And I hope that you keep that question in mind. What would taking care of yourself look like if it didn't require your body to get smaller in return? See you tomorrow. Thanks for joining me for this episode of the Midlife Feast. If you're ready to take the next step towards thriving in midlife, head to menopausenutritionist.ca to learn more about my one-to-one and group coaching programs, free resources, and where to get your copy of Eat to Thrive During Menopause. And if you've loved today's conversation and found it helpful, please share it with a friend who needs to hear this and leave a review wherever you listen to podcasts. It helps so many more people just like you find their way to food freedom and midlife confidence. Until next time, remember, midlife is not the end of the story, it's the feast. Let's savor it together.